Hey guys, welcome to SimCity for the Super Nintendo. This is my favorite SimCity that I've played. Granted, I've only played a few of them, but this one is by far my favorite. It's really nostalgic for me. I used to play this as a kid all the time, and so many good memories with it. It's really fun. Like, it's crazy. It's so addicting for some reason. So recently I've been, I had a couple cities already, but I'm going to start from a new one. And, because those cities are pretty well off. I have one capital in one city, but I'll talk more about that later. Since there's so much to this game, I'm thinking about doing an actual Let's Play of this, so this might be part 1 of a Let's Play. I'm recording this April 15th, 2013, so I don't know when this is going to come out exactly. It's probably not going to be for a while, so yeah, there's 1,000 maps to choose from. But I'm just going to pick one. Let's see what 10 looks like. Because see, it takes forever for it to load. That's the only problem with it. But that one looks decent. Only have 8 characters for the name of the city. I can't think of anything creative, so we're gonna do something here. We're gonna call it SNEStown. Yeah, SNEStown. I usually like to play on easy just because it gives you more money, you know? This game can get rather difficult, but it really comes down to how much patience you have. So, this is the main screen here, and what I always start with is a nuclear power plant. You can choose from a coal power plant or a nuclear power plant. I'm really not 100% sure about the difference, but I think nuclear power plants just can, you know, give power to like big areas through the city, like big majority of the city. And coal power plants I don't think have as much radius, most likely. But start with some residential zones, usually. And I always like to put commercial zones pretty close by as well, because they say that decreases housing costs, which is a huge complaint from the citizens most of the time. You also need industrial zones because they're going to want jobs as well, so it's kind of putting them randomly. Eventually I'll put more residential, like, in groups, because it seems to work better that way. Just have a big, like, residential area and then a whole bunch of commercials by it. I'm going to start with just roads. Eventually you're going to want to introduce a mass transit, which is a train. Because if you have too many roads, there's going to be a lot of traffic jams, and people are going to start complaining about that. And you want to try to make as many people happy as possible, because you want more people to come to your city and not to leave. So you can actually check on what your people are thinking, and it says if you're doing a good job, how many people think you're doing a good job. And the worst problem at the beginning is always taxes. That's always how it starts out. And I mean, nobody likes taxes, but if you go over here, you can look at your tax. Every year, it'll automatically take you to this screen, so you can change taxes, whatever you want to fund. Like, you can change the percentage if you want, but I don't recommend doing that at all, because if you have this even to like 90% or something, the roads will start deteriorating and disappearing, and you'll have to rebuild them, because that's the transportation fund. Right now it's all at 0 because a year hasn't passed yet, but I'll get more into that later. You can also see your graph, like track your progress, all this stuff. I'll get more into that later when it's like necessary, but for now, you just kind of wait. There's a lot of waiting around involved, so I'm probably gonna skip around a lot. And you can also change the game speed. I'm actually gonna put it up to medium here. I usually have it at top speed eventually for like most of the game, just because it is a lot of waiting around, especially for money. Because taxes are where you're going to get most of your money, and banks. You can take out loans But the thing is, it takes 21 years to pay off the loan, and you only get $10,000 at a time, which is a real pain in the ass when you get late in the game. And I should probably explain this RCI thing over here. It stands for Residential, Commercial, and Industrial. And they're all through the roof right now. That means we need to build more of everything, pretty much. You want to keep this as even as possible. Like, have like no bars, really. And if the bar starts to go below it, I think that means you have too many. But it's hard to keep that balance. You usually always have to build something. I'm going to build more residential. Around. Yeah, I like that. I usually kind of like to do a grid pattern, but I'm kind of spacing them out over here just for the hell of it, really. I am going to need a police department soon, so I might as well get that out of the way. And when I build a police department, I like to build a fire department as well. And yeah, they're going to want electricity. As long as the building is connected with another building that has electricity, they'll be fine. But I like to make it look pretty, so I just, you know, connect it like this, just to make it look nice. And build some roads through here. I'm probably going to have to wait around a little bit soon, just because you don't want to spend too much money at once, because then you'll just like overwhelm yourself, and then you're going to have to start paying funding for everything, and it's just like, oh my god. But yeah, that's essentially the game. There's not really a lot to it. I mean, there's much more to it as you like progress. And you can also talk to this guy who is, I believe his name is like Mr. Wright or something. But he'll tell you, like, give you hints and advice on what you should be doing if there's any problems. But right now he says we're doing fine, so it's not a lot to worry about. I like to frequently check what people are complaining about, though, because that's how you know if you're keeping your people happy or not. So, yeah, taxes, blah, blah, blah. I can't really control that right now. And also, the map is probably the most useful thing for you in this game. I use it constantly because you can keep track of literally everything. So, right now, this setting down here just shows you residential, industrial, and commercial. And see, as you can see, the first year has passed, so that means we have to pay $78 for the transportation fund because of the roads we have. We get 117 from taxes collected, and we'll get special income from places like casinos, zoos, amusement parks, stuff like that. And then, of course, your city expenditures is what you spent that year, pretty much. So at the beginning, you're going to lose money, most likely, after the first few years of taxes until you start getting more income. And you can raise the tax prices, or the tax rate, but people will start leaving if it's too high. So I usually like to keep it at 7, unless I'm in desperate need of money, then I'll raise it maybe a couple %. But you can also lower funding if you want, so you don't have to pay as much. But again, I don't really recommend that. But if you're in desperate need of money, it's just kind of a trade-off. You have to see what you can do without for a while. Pretty much. Wait, are we... Okay, I was going to say, I think we're a town now. Yeah, 2,000 population makes your village turn into a town. Congratulations, your village has become a town. Placing residential zones, industrial zones, and commercial zones in balanced numbers will help your city to grow. And then we'll become a city eventually, and then you'll become a capital, then a metropolis, I believe, and then the biggest one you can get is a megalopolis, but that is, I've never been able to do that. I don't think I've ever had any more than a capital, but it's ridiculous to even get a metropolis, because I think that's 100,000 population. But to get a megalopolis, you need 1 million population, which is just absurd. So now we can build our house wherever we want. I do believe it increases land value, so house prices will go up if you're near a lot of residential areas, which I kind of like to be actually near residential areas, so I'll just build it there. And your house will eventually grow and get bigger, like a mansion eventually. It's pretty funny, but looks like we need more residential and commercial zones. We're good on industrial for now, it seems. I usually wait to build a mass transit until people are complaining about traffic. And see, that's only at 4% right now. Housing costs and taxes. But the majority of the people say I'm doing a good job, so that's good news. Anyway, more on this, because I was interrupted by taxes. But this just shows your residential, commercial, and industrial. This is your power grid. It shows the buildings that have electricity. There's all your roads and train tracks. You can also see your population density and your rate of growth, which is how vastly the area is growing. Traffic density, pollution, crime rate, all this stuff you can keep track of, and you need to monitor throughout the game to keep people happy. And this is the land value. As you can see, it's pretty high right now, which makes sense. You can also see the police and fire department radius, just to see how much they can actually cover. And you want to have them overlapping eventually. But yeah, people are complaining about housing costs, so that means we need to build more commercial areas by residential zones. Because if you click on, whoops, wrong thing. This guy will give you advice. Oh, he's giving advice on tax. If the tax rate is too high, the residents will move to other cities. Most of the residents feel that a 7% tax rate is fair. And see how he says most of the residents. Taxes are going to be something that people complain about constantly, most of the game. In my experiences with the game, that is one of the things they complain about the most. But again, if you keep the percentage low, it's really not that big of a deal. It's only when a lot of people are like bitching about it, they'll really start leaving. And you can always monitor your population right here.